John, a strong recovery is taking place in US business to Ireland this year, with visitor numbers up 13% for the first 7 months. I know it's early days, but do you think that that's a trend that can continue into next year, or are there some bumps in the road ahead?
Yeah, I think that there are probably some bumps in the road, unfortunately. I wish I could say that we saw the trend continuing, but you know, as we've discussed a little bit, it looks like a tough 2012 from this vantage point right now. We had a great first half of the year, solid first half of 2011, but since the middle of the year, since about August, we've really seen the business taper off in terms of the demand drying up. So that obviously will impact the departures, the travel departures that'll happen at the end of this year, as well as, you know, well into 2012.
That's to do with consumer confidence, I presume.
Yeah, you know, I think prices have gone up a little bit, but that's been the case the whole year. So I think the turning point really has been the U.S. economy and the consumer confidence just dropping. And there's been a series of events. I think the U.S. economy, we felt that it was heading in the right direction, but there have been some blips and bumps in the road there, and I think people are very cautious right now.
Sure.
You know, we at GCS and Scepter Tours have been aggressively marketing still, you know, but we have seen the marketing money not go as far as it has in the past.
Sure.
We're really working harder to create the demand.
Sure.
So we're forced to pick and choose a little more closely in terms of what mediums are profitable for us and what aren't. You know, so I think we're in for a rough ride here for the first half of 2012. You know, hopefully we're optimistic that things will begin to turn around by the second half of the year. And you know,
overall, maybe, I mean, of course, the thing we tend to forget about it, this was an exceptionally good year from the United States, so I suppose maybe we may be happy, maybe we have to be happy with just repeating that.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be a great achievement if we could repeat last year again. I'm not sure we will. I think we'll be down, you know, I won't even put a number out there, but I think we'll be down a fairly significant number for the first
half of the year.
At least for the first quarter, and probably for the first half of the year, yeah.
Good question, good question. Well, I certainly think the trend can be continuing. I think it's going to be tougher, it's going to be harder, I'm going to have to work at it. I think the beauty is that Ireland's an aspirational destination, it's a dream destination, and everybody wants to go. So you have all of the ingredients, if you will, to continue the role. The challenge you're going to have is obviously the U.S. economy, which tends to teeter. You know, we don't know if it's going to be a double-dip recession or not, but the fact is that the aggressive marketers, the ones that are out there, the ones that are visible, the ones that are there when the customers are thinking about traveling, are going to get the business. There's no question about it. I mean, I see it in my business. We're fairly aggressive. We're looking now at futures that are very good. The last few weeks have been soft, but overall, we're very happy with the response that we're getting and with the business we're seeing already for 2012. We have a good bit of business. Ireland and Western Europe in general are seeing better growth than the Eastern Med, obviously, or the Middle East. And people that had planned to go there are now looking for alternate destinations. And that's where I think we could win, and that's where I think Ireland could win, is if you pick up the travelers that have said, you know, I've always dreamed of going to Egypt, and this was the year, and they're not going to go, we have to give them an alternate. So you have the people who want to go to Ireland, and then the people who don't know, but we have to tell them they want to go. And I think that's it. And I think you have to be out there, you have to be visible. And I think, like I said, as long as we're aggressive and we're in the consumer's face, I think we'll get the business.
Let me address 2011 first. 2011 will be one of the best years we've had in our 80-year history. We'll probably match 2007, which was our best year. So we're delighted with 2011. If we could continue the trend through 2012, needless to say, we would be thrilled. There's some little problems out there right as we speak, and one is that the consumer confidence level in the United States has at the lowest point it's been right now for a long time. There's uncertainty in the markets, there's uncertainty in Europe, and this is causing people, I believe, to hesitate on their travel plans for 2012. We're noticing there is a slower trend in booking tours for next year with us. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It means that it hasn't happened yet. We haven't seen the trend the same as it's been in 2011. I'm hoping that 2012 is going to be very strong.
Right.
Several things need to happen to make 2012 strong. And the first, obviously, is to sort out this Greek problem, which people don't understand it, but they know it's not good. And once a couple of things come together, I believe we'll see the flow of business, but we're not seeing it yet.
Well, first of all, it's very exciting that the travel is up to Ireland. That's very good news from the U.S., and it's nice to see Americans going about the globe again. I think next year there is a strong possibility that the upward trend can continue. Maybe not at the same rate, but certainly upward, because vacationing in this country is certainly a right, not a privilege, and everyone has their eyes on Europe again for the first time in a very long time, and Ireland is a favorite.
Great.
And it's a favorite with a lot of Americans. It's on a lot of bucket lists, and I would be very surprised if things turned the other way.
Great. And any concern about the famous double dip in the economy they talk about?
Well, yes, that tends to change behavior, but unless it's horrendous, it doesn't alter the idea of going on vacation. So where Ireland may benefit is it's a more comfortable destination for a lot of Americans. They feel a connection, it has linguistic similarities, and it's a relatively easy flight. So what may be Thailand's loss or, you know, a further destination's loss, Australia, could be Ireland's gain, and we see that a lot. That's not atypical.
So Eamon, indeed, the numbers have been really very powerful this year. We've seen a big increase in visitor departures from the United States into Ireland. That was both on our escorted touring program as on our individual program for FIT. We've been very pleased with excellent results. However, since the month of August, the market has not performed as well as it did in the first 6 or 7 months. And it has been softer since. So since the month of August, the build has really not performed as well as it did in the first 6 or 7 months of the year. And until that picks up, the predictions for 2012 may not be as strong as they are or will be for 2011. So the market is a little bit softer. How that will eventually translate into visitor arrivals, it's very difficult to say. A number of things can happen. People may decide to book later in the game. And we all know that they don't necessarily travel to Ireland in January or February. And if they book during those months, it will be a good year. However, if the market softens even further, if the stock market doesn't perform, if the housing market is not getting back to where it should be, if unemployment still remains a concern, then they may eventually hold off and decide to travel even later or not at all, or substitute for another destination that may be perceived for a different value or for other reasons. At this point, it's really early to tell.
But I presume it's to do with consumer confidence largely, that at this point in time is not as robust as one would like it to be in the US.
That is absolutely correct. So consumer confidence has a lot to do with how much money you have in the bank, how valuable your real estate is, how secure you are with your job. The media has an awful lot to do with that. If you open the newspaper or you flip on the TV, and it's mostly bad news you see, it really affects your mood. And the big ticket items, buying a new car, going on a vacation, refurbishing your house, those are then expenses that people will think about twice before they will actually decide to give their credit card and decide, yes, I'm going to go, and that's it. So we think it's going to be okay, but wait and see.
Well, it's great to have had such a good year as we've had in 2011. It really has been fantastic, and most sectors have done very well out of it. We're in a great place, we have a great brand, everyone wants to go someday, and we have a product that continues to satisfy our visitors, so we really are in a strong place. The challenge that we're facing next year is directly related to consumer confidence in the United States, and until and unless consumer confidence is restored, next year will be a difficult year. Now, I'm not saying we can't get growth, I believe we can get growth, but we're all going to have to work very hard to remind people of just what a great vacation destination Ireland is, and to remind them of the great value that is to be had. Given that, I think that we can expect further growth to build on the great growth for the current year.
Great, so it's fingers crossed, but a few breaks on the economy this side, helping consumer confidence, and we hopefully may, of course it'll be off a very high base, you'll be back close enough to 2007 figures
Yes,
this year, Joe?
this year, 2011, will be one of the best years ever for tourism
Yeah.
from this part of the world
Yeah.
to the island of Ireland. And that's wonderful. It's really very, very good. It does look like we will actually have some small increases in capacity next year. And that is critically important to facilitating
Sure.
people, and it puts manners on the airlines in relation to airfares.
Sure.
So that will be welcome again. But the strength of what we have is what we need to ram home. We need to remind people of just what a great time you can have on vacation in Ireland. We need to put our army of satisfied visitors to work for us. And given that, I do believe that we will actually have reasonable growth prospects for next year.